Yep. That George Washington challenge connect with this too, because that he was part of that same oath to come and get rid of the that challenge ties into the blood oath to get rid of the princes on the land and make them pretty much wipe their memory out. Now let's bring my next question, and then we're gonna run. We got about 4 more clips to run. But why was it important to make us forget a lot of our stuff that we did, like divinations and like
because they cutting you off from your intrinsic ancestral power base. They take away your spirituality and replace it with religion that keeps you powerless because you constantly put yourself in a sleep spell in the name of the Amun. It's a mandatory spell. Every time you saying it at the end of your prayers, you telling the known God to remain unknown. I mean, don't shine my light in the world. I don't want people to know I'm powerful. So it enhances the ego, but it subjugates the God's self. It's like putting shackles on a God, because can't nobody hold you down but you. Ain't nobody hold me down. Oh no, we got to keep on moving. So when you look at the war structure, the goal is when the close of the age come, all debts must be settled. All conjures must be closed, right? Everybody must be prepared to account for their right or their wrongdoing, because this is the great celestial payout for the karma that we accumulated over lifetimes. We call it generational traumas, generational curses, generational blessings, right? Because we all know a family, they ain't rich, but they don't never want for nothing. None of them in their family don't never want for nothing, but they ain't rich. They always stumble into the good jobs without having to have all of the qualifications. It just lines up for them, right? That's because that's their generational path clear financially, right? Normally when you find people in poverty, that means that they the pauper gods. They waiting on the end to cash in. They don't know that heaven is on earth, but they about to find out. Before you run out, one elder. This one right here is about the paper genocide.
Okay.
Trying to tell victims of paper genocide to prove their ancestry with paperwork is like telling the murder victim to prove that he got murdered, even if you know who the perpetrator is.
Wow.
So they telling us we know about the paper genocide, right? But now the sister about to ask AI about the paper genocide. Somebody sent me this for a receipt too. And the AI is going to tell you how paper genocide works. The goal is to disassociate the people of the land from the land so that you can say they abandoned the land and you can assert salvage rights to the land to claim the land as your own, right? And it all plays out in the laws that they pass, the salvage laws, the squatters' rights, and all of those things. Is the army that's imposing on the people of the land has to have a certain way to assert how much of the land that they've settled on. So they got squatters' rights. Then you had the salvage right. The salvage right gave rise to something called eminent domain, where the government can take your land and appropriate it for what they want to under eminent domain. That's part of the claiming the land by the foreign force. The foreign force is the fictitious government called the United States Corporation, right? So now this is how paper genocide work, and this is what AI.
They can paper genocide and take the princes out.
No, or
you don't even remember. Some of us might be princes of tribes that don't even remember.
Yes, we do. We still doing it.
Go ahead.
look, that they can also label you criminal on paper and call your tribe a gang.
That's right.
And they come in with infiltrators. We got the records of their infiltration. We got records of it. And when they come in with the infiltration, they make the closest two tribes fight each other with BS, senseless violence, or they make it about the money. Because at the end of the day, we as the chiefs is responsible to feed the family. We supposed to get it off the dirt. We ain't supposed to be part of their system because we had no contracts with them people. So being that we are called enemy combatant nations, we call outlaw tribes, we call non-treaty tribes, we call enemy or foreign dependent nations, that still don't make us citizens of the government. We don't got nothing to do with them. They claiming us in hopes that we surrender who we are and acquiesce to their claim of ownership of us. But this is my public notice that they don't own me. Notice the agent is notice the principal.
Right.
As long as it's said in the public domain, it's an archive format, a recoverable format, time stamped and dated. The whole tribe can use it.
Hey, let it be known on the microphone.
They don't own us. We're not assets of the corporation. The corporation was stealing our assets. Let it be known.
Let it be known.
We don't mind working, but we want to work to build our own. We don't want to work to build somebody else's in our house.
Right.
That's irrational, illogical, and somebody must be a damn fool.
Right.
Right. You done seen what they did to us, a historical record, and them burning us down, sicking the police on us. The police is a foreign police force occupying the territory. We got a video on the police to occupy Iraq. And then they make an Iraqi police force. And they get to pick who on the police force.
Right.
And they get to make the rules to what the law is.
Right.
So now they using us to police us to do their dirt.
Yeah. Because the cop, the black cop pull you over, he be the worst, treat you better than the other cop, kind of cop, you know? He treats you money. They not America. They United States courts. That's what we,
right.
They ain't, yeah.
So now you got to go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Who was operating as traders, not as trading in goods and services during the colonial period? You had the Virginia Company,
the Indian
Northwest Trading Company,
British, yeah.
Right. You had your Manhattan Company,
right,
that bought Manhattan.
Right.
All these are corporations.
Right.
Right. All they doing is getting the territory to work from a boss.
Right.
But some kind of way, they tried to overthrow the boss.
Right. Big Mama.
Sealed by 13 colonies.
Right.
Right. They let them over because it was coming off the heels of a war all across Europe. Remember, the Moors that got kicked out of Europe, they didn't just give up and walk away.
No.
They fought bloody warfare for 700 years.
Right.
Against the hairy Europeans.
Right.
Recorded. I ain't recorded. I wasn't there. Right. So when they finally get ran from over there, then they all get ran across the Pillars of Hercules back the way they came as Etruscans.
Go ahead.
Right. The Turks was running, was the pale-faced Turks was overthrowing the Byzantine kings in the Turkish Empire.
Okay.
Right? They pushed them back into what we call today the Middle East.
Right.
Right? Then they set up tribes and communities over there, and they was always at war with the tribes around them.
Go ahead.
Now it's called feudal tribalism of the Middle East. We know a lot of English historians don't write about it. It's in Arabic. Somebody got to translate it. Right? But they still got the stories. They telling you how they was chased down into the Middle East and Byzantine wars with the Ottomans in order for them to take control, the Turks to take control of the empire.
Right.
Right. So now they running into the Middle East. This is where they having the tribal warfare with the local tribes there, but they also running them into Northwest Africa, what they was calling back then Al-Maghrib. Right. So now the Africans, the sub-Saharan Africans is warning them, don't cross that desert and come down here. So when they finally regrouped and regained control of Europe, they had the conference, the Berlin Conference, and decided to attack Africa en masse. Right, but they still attacking us. We still fighting the first wave of them SOBs that came over here. Conquistadors and Huguenots and gentry.
Right.
Right? It's the English, the French, and the Spanish. Right? We speak those languages according to who was occupying what territory. Everybody think that the French, that the Creoles speak French, but the Creoles speak Creole. They might have picked up some French words because NOLA was an old trading town.
Right.
It was the port of entry into all goods and services to the main heartland of America.
I got another question for you, Rod, when you get through working it right now.
Yeah. So, when they trying to tell us about how we move on the land, if you're not from here, you don't understand that what makes the tribes uproot themselves and move, because we don't do it. We get settled in and we live on our territory for our whole life without going nowhere. We had big mamas that set up on farms, working the whole farm by herself. She's 97 years old. It wasn't nothing. Right? And then, you know, she had them big old boys of hers might be coming in from the fields, hauling puffwood or something.
Hey, bills of hay.
Hay, puffwood, crops, it didn't matter. We was doing business with each other from family firm to family firm. This is why you had communities set up already. The wagon trains is the modern day truckers. Right? The scouts come out on the horseback riding, you call them bikers. They patrol the land. If it's a change in the land, it get echoed to the rest of the tribes through the movement of the bike, which used to be the movement of the horses. The horses want to run wild and free, right? And they told you the Buffalo Soldiers were soldiers for the government, but they lied to you because they were soldiers for the tribes. If they wouldn't have been soldiers for the tribes, they wouldn't have been trying to kill all of the buffalo. And their exact words in their writings is they kill a buffalo. For every buffalo they kill one of us. That's because you had them big tookie looking dudes under buffalo skins at nighttime come out and whoop their ass. Them was old Mississippi, and that's Mississippian culture. We wear the skin of our totem animal. We live amongst our totem animal. We used to be able to walk through the bison with the bison skin on, and they recognize us as one of them. But now they try to tell you that the Buffalo Soldier, they wasn't what you taught. They lying. It was the Buffalo clans. It was many clans who was in harmony with the Buffalo, and they all had a brotherhood, and this is where you get your Buffalo Lodge. Right. But you also got your Elks.
Yeah.
Right? You got your Moose Lodge.
That's right.
You got your Eagle Lodge.
And them brothers, all them brothers, But yeah,
all,
them brothers
all
started back
coming
then.
from the tribes trying to use the fraternal brotherhood cover to communicate to the other tribes
Yeah.
without having to be exposed to the war effort. So how
Notice,
we trade information, but Elder, remember we used to have a BYOB, right?
right?
Till we learn how to get liquor license for the club, because under the brotherhood, we have a different set of guidelines to get a liquor license,
Right.
right?
Big Mama had the bootleg.
Right, but you just now they got a legal classification as a fraternal order. That's what they call them. But this is how we slid information on in the powwow.
Mm-hmm.
My uncle, my father, and them always going to a powwow.
Yeah.
Hey,
Holding
Daddy,
the
where y'all
ball.
going? Boy, go sit down. We going to the powwow. We'll be back a little later on.
They call it a kickback. That's another word for power. Kickback. We had other words
Fire
for
talk.
it. Yeah. Yeah, but it's
Go,
the
I
same
mean, we're
power.
going to have fire talk. Yeah, this is they talk around the fire. And it's a lot of them. But look, we know who we is. My job is to just tell them trick no good. We didn't disassociate from the land. You got to give it all back. And I'm telling it to you in front of all of the clans because we got to all be ready at the same time.
Right.
All we got to do is stop pushing, stop supporting the BS. Remember what Tupac said? Don't
Right.
support the fake, support the real.
Right.
Stop
Right.
supporting that fraud and watch it fall.
Yeah.
We
Facts.
already watching it fall. They just taking account of what's there so they can know what to give you.
It's right. That's why I told him it's a liquidation. We already pointed it
Yeah.
out. It's a
Yeah.
liquidation, man. It's the end. Now
Yeah.
that brings my next question, ties into the bloody oath, and you taught me about this part too. And I want you to just I know you probably already answered this question, not on this tape, but on other tapes.
That's all right. Just ask the question anyway.
Yeah, I want to go along with this tape, right? The Crispus Attucks blood oath when they signed the deal, right? So what significance does that play, being that this is an alchemical, blood magical Babylonian type thing? With the Crispus Attucks blood magic and the signing of that. Go ahead.
Okay. So in order to establish the sides of the war, the attacker draw first blood. He take up the position on the chessboard as the white piece. The one who first gets struck take up the position as the black piece, right? So when the black pieces come up, we come in what they call rank and file, right? So they struck Crispus Attucks, drew first blood. Blood in, blood out. When Trump get done, we severing heads. Blood out. In order to atone for the blood of the righteous that's been spilled, we gonna surrender the blood of the wicked that spilled it. And that's fair. Because Big Mama say turnabout is fair. Say turnabout is fair exchange.
That makes sense.
It's fair play. If they do it to you, you got a right to do it back to them. Just make sure you're right when you do what you do so that you don't suffer a negative consequence.
Right.
She said, if you're right, you never lose, even if you get your ass kicked. This one in there, if you remember when we was talking about how Cali moved to keep anybody from hit them in the pockets, right?
Right.
Mob action, rush the store. Right? Because it's a mob action, the police not allowed to stop it.
Damn.
Because of the riots, the 92 riots with Rodney King. Not only are they not to stop it, they can't arrest nobody for it because under the sociological doctrine of the crowd, as is written by Gustave Le Bon, when the crowd is in control, the individual can't control themselves.
Damn.
All they needed was an agitator. But you can't even arrest the agitator. So, because if you arrest the agitator, he could deny being the agitator.
Right.
And you still arresting him for the mob action, so all you got to do is let him go.
Right. Makes sense.
So this isn't how they hit him in the pockets. 7-Eleven was violating the community with the way they was treating their customers in California. And not just California, but California is the ones responsible to hit their ass in the pocket. And this is what happened. And then you're going to see how many stores is closing.
Damn, 400 stores? That's a lot.
Well, you know how the foreigners get in our neighborhood.
The Iranians and it's a couple of
if they don't bump straight, they're going to get bumped off the board.
Yeah. They ain't playing no more now.
Yeah, it's a new sheriff in town.
I remember when Big Took in them when Monster Cody was telling the story, and because you talking about the outlaw tribes and how we were different, right? He said that he had went took in them and ramming them something to go get an egg sandwich, and he ate a little piece out the thing and brought it back, and then he gave it to Raymond, and Raymond said, "Hey, Took, man, you ordered me an egg sandwich? Ain't no egg on this sandwich, right?" So he said, "Yeah, Monster Cody had ate a piece out of it, right?" So, but he ain't tell him, right? Tookie knows Monster had ate it, but they went back. The whole Crip gang got together, went back down to where the Chinese that made the egg sandwich, and they took everything in the store, took all all their supplies, the cups, cake, whatever they had. Took it and came back with it, but they didn't give a dang about the law. The outlaw tribes, pretty much, they were in charge of their community, like the Crips.
Yeah.
The Crips. Go ahead. Could you go in
see,
on that?
See, we didn't start. The people that started disrespecting us in our community, we tolerated because we was able to negotiate the prices and Jew them down. That's what they used to call it. Right? You got to negotiate with the Jew. And he the one with the nasty attitude that teach all the foreigners that when you go in, you got to handle your niggers like this. Right? He's the one that's advising how to manage the slaves on the open plantation. But he's set up as a shopkeeper. So he can keep his ear to the street in case we decide that we want to get him off the land before we realize that the real ones that sent them out there look like us, but they ain't us. I ain't never want to shoot for the bottom. I always want to shoot for the top. Ain't no sense of taking out the whole army when you can take out the one that's causing the problem.
Right. We got about 30 minutes left. We'll take some from the crowd. We got a question here. It says, why we are seeing pale faces covering their face. I think they're talking about the Cincinnati thing with the pale faces out there. There's a lot of these events going on with pale faces, racist events, staged events.
Yeah, but they being staged by the Black Brotherhood of Spain, who came over here and became the Knights of the Ku Klux Klan.
Right.
Who passed it off to the pale faces over here. And then they brought her what they call the neo-Nazi doctrine from German niggas. Right. Wrote that. All of them changed their names, and that was allowed them to change their faces in the history books, in the whitewashing of history. That is not what Adolf Hitler looked like. He was a Charlie Chaplin actor.
Right.
He was trained by a guy named Rubles to play a theatrical performance of the then German dictator, the real Adolphus. And because they wanted theater, they wanted the pale face in theater. This is being done by the 32-degree Scottish Rite double head eagle. Mm-hmm. Right? They putting the pale faces in front of the camera, but they not telling you they imitating the people that's getting the movies made. All of the Adolf Hitler footage is scripted.
Yep.
The real Adolf Hitler was a black Nazi from an Aryan race that comes from a place called Nirvana.
It's dark skinned Aryans. Go ahead. The dark skinned
Yeah,
Aryans with gray hair.
right. And
Yeah.
this is what Adolphus was. And Adolf Hitler was the parody.
Go ahead. I heard this storyline. Come on, go ahead. I heard
It's
this.
the same way they do the Jesus story.
Yep.
But now they got a sister about to play Jesus in Jesus Christ Superstar on Broadway.
Wow.
They confessing that ISIS is Jesus without confessing it.
And they've been worshiping ISIS the whole time. The Pope, everybody.
And the only ones that knew was the Jesuits. The
Yep.
general, they thought Jesus was Jesus the Pantera, which was a whole different character from a whole different cultural influence and background.
Yep.
But they put the story together at the Nicene Council when they assembled the canon of the Bible from the works and the plays of Josephus Flavius, who was adapting his stories from the first century Christian philosopher named Origen. Origen was a metaphysician and alchemist back then, and then later on they called him a first century Christian philosopher contemporary with Christ.
Right. Right.
Right. So now we looking at the narrative playing out at the finale of the script.
Right.
In order to close the script, you have to round up the cast. Right? Then they're going to do their final bow when they so-called expose the elites. You know, so they can bow out. Exit stage left. They ain't coming back.
Right. Like the like Uncle Sam on the Super Bowl ritual. Exit stage left.
Yeah, that's the American Corporation. That's the stage left.
How long do you think a United States corps got, being that Donald Trump is pretty much he's already getting in there, trying to move real fast at liquidating and trying to figure out where all the money's at so he can call all the assets. You think they got 4 years? I mean, they got 4 years.
No, they moved the celebration date from the day after Memorial Day this year to the 4th of July of 2026. So they needed more time. So he gonna be at breakneck speed up until the end.
Yeah, he working fast. He
Yeah,
all the assets, trying to figure out where all the money's at. He going through the whole book. They going through
that's what you do when you close the corporation. You got to take account of all assets.
That's right. That's what I told him. That's what we told him. We've been told him this, that Trump was coming to liquidate. He finna call in all assets.
Right.
So people complaining right now about their tax. Trump holding people tax this year. If you got child tax credit, well, you know, you file kids on your income tax. They holding most of everybody to April and the end of March, and people, black people going crazy right now, saying, "Man, I'm supposed to have got my taxes back," and now Trump is calling to be hold for the trial. So it's a lot of stuff.
Well, we don't remember when they closed the IRS because they didn't make it mainstream news. They mentioned it on the back page somewhere. IRS ordered to shut down.
Damn.
Right. That was like 2021.
Yeah, I think I seen it, and the lady that came out and said something about it, we ain't seen her since.
Mm-hmm. The same with the corporation got to shut down too. We sunk on January 6th. We sunk their battleship. We took us off the Admiralty and put us under the jurisdiction of the Republic. That's what the January 6th big deal was about. The law of the land was the flag with no fringes. The guy that was dressed as the shaman sat behind Pelosi's desk. You only have to occupy it for a couple of minutes.
Right.
He sat there about 10 minutes. That's occupied the ship.
Right.
We sank her battleship. In 2017, the British, ever since 1776, had to have a ship in the bay right there off DC to collect the birth certificates for the fraud and the enslavement of the people to be held in reprisal for the debt.
Makes sense.
When Trump made them leave, that's how he broke their jurisdictional stronghold.
Makes sense.
Now he can foreclose on the corporation, but he got so many dirty players, they need to buy some time. So they put Biden in.
So I think, you know what I think, Rod? I think that they were paying a lot of ransom money to people, because I heard that the fake, I heard that the people that's over in Jerusalem now saying that they're Jews, they threatened to tell us who we were to the United States corps if they didn't keep paying them. I heard that the $5 Indians threatened the U.S. corps to tell who we were if they didn't keep paying the extortion money. But now Trump's saying we don't want to pay you no more. Well, we don't want to pay no extortion money no more. You can go and tell them.
Because you heard what Trump said, because they look like the Indians, he look like Michael Jordan.
Yeah, right.
And these people, I don't know who they are, but they don't look like Indians to me, and they don't look like Indians to Indians.
Right, right. I
All right.
pass for more Indian than them, is what Trump said.
So you got to understand the feudal ages of Europe, when they used to pillage the villages.
Uh-huh.
When they used to take prisoners of war, they set them up in those villages.
Uh-huh.
And this is where you get your Mongolians that came over as the slaves. When they show you the picture of the brother with the nappy hair and the dude with the straight hair, the dude with the straight hair was the runaway slave, not the dude with the nappy hair. He always been here.
Right.
Right. So some of them intermarried in with some of us. Right. Some of them went on in the Trail of Tears and replaced us. And that's why they put him on the reserves and set him on the reservation. Just in case we don't remember who he is, they got somebody that they can replace us with in order for them to divvy up our birthright among themselves without us reaping any benefits. I just didn't think that we should have to endure that BS.
Right. I don't know, Justin Trubden. I can't even say his last name. And what's up with the pickup? I got tapes out on the pickups, but that guy, I don't know his name. I don't know this guy.
Justin Trudeau was a dude that came up. He was a genius kid. He came up as an entrepreneur, and he was selling stuff on infomercials. He made cures they don't want you to know about.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they locked him up. Gave him, I think, 5 years. And
brother?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I think that's who they talking about, Justin Trudeau.
Check him out. You might check him out.
Or no, that might be the Prime Minister of Canada, I think.
Because I know that Trump in that video, he just said that he talking about renaming Canada and Mexico. He said we paying them everything. We might well change the name of the country. But the thing is, truth of the matter, that land was a part of this land. They trying to keep us under the impression that land is Mexico is separate from this land. It's the same.
They're talking about the Prime Minister.
Island, huh?
Yeah, they're talking about the Prime Minister of Canada.
Okay.
So the land is broke up in provinces. Just like Canada is broke up into royal provinces, Quebec, Alberta, like that. The same way that the states is broke up. Each territory had a different set of tribal rules governing it, and the tribes from that area had similar tribal practices to, be able to work in harmony together. Mm-hmm. So now when we coming back out of it, it's not going to look the same way it did before we went into it, because they changed all of the lines. They changed the way that we separated land and people. Yeah, but Justin Trudeau is the president of Canada. His ass gonna be locked up. He gonna be Gitmo if he ain't already, because he already been replaced with actor,
Right.
with central casting
Right.
for a couple years now. So, and a lot of the people in Canada recognized it too, because they were saying something about it, like that don't look like him.
That came Washington D.C. and created their own government and
All of
made
their fans is in the George Washington Masonic Memorial
right.
display.
Bumped them.
Go look at the fans. They know whose they is. You can do the research on the fans. They're going to tell you who fans it is. All of the fans is the George Washington Masonic Memorial. Those was the ones that challenged us to the Conjugal.
And I'm trying to figure out, did we give them that or did they come with it? Because it's like they want that these guys came over here. We already had the mounds.
Well, we've been doing the craft longer than they have, but they don't know that. They thought we was just savage primitives when it came to the crafts. So then they tried to villainize the ones of us that practice and kill off the priestesses and call it the witch hunts.
Yeah, voodoo and
Mm-hmm.
Salem witch projects. The
Right.
Salem witch.
And then now they hunting down the medicine men, trying to steal this knowledge so they can set up their pharmacia hospitals.
Yeah, Dr. Savy, all etc.
Yeah.
Which
they strategies have not changed. They repeatedly doing the same thing over and over. If you watch the pattern, it's eventually going to reveal who's behind the pattern.
Right.
When did the pattern start? What's the interrupt? Because soon as you interrupt the pattern, you break the paradigm. And this is what we're trying to do. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to break the paradigm. And the more the paradigm break, the more Trump looked like one of them cartoons. Running around trying to keep up.
Damn sure right. It's a lot of lies just around in what Columbus, you know, that Christopher Columbus whole thing. Like we heard that he was a brother helped him sail. We heard
he was a Moor.
Yeah, go ahead.
Christopher Columbus was a Moor. And Pietro del Negro was the navigator. He was classified as a blackamoor.
Yeah.
That means he was blue-black.
Right, yeah, dark nigga.
Right. And Christopher Columbus was just classified as a Moor. He was a Spanish Moor.
Uh-huh.
So he was swarthy, but he wasn't dark.
Yeah.
Right. So we would call him today he was a high yellow nigga.
Right. About Obama.
Yeah,
even high yellow than him. Now let me ask you, they said that Columbus is the one that came to America and brought the coin over to Africa. Now, why is I'm seeing Africans thousands of years with coin before Christopher Columbus?
They got to make an excuse for the corn to originate over here and be in ancient cultures. They was trying to cover all that up by giving a backstory of contributions to a thief.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. We know that the Anunnaki was growing corn in Sumer because they got it painted on the walls.
Right.
But we know corn originated over here with Tahuti out of the monkey village.
Right.
Right? Botany, where he was growing the different vegetables.
Right.
To form the dietary base of the same food stock that the humans was made from, the carbon of corn. So corn became the celebratory food of all of the indigenous cultures, North and South America.
Right, and the rituals and things. Yep, Masons do it in their rituals. Yep.
Yeah, there's prosperity, abundance. The more corn we grow, corn is a ritual food for the tribes, especially when you start going to the Southwest. But notice it's primarily desert.
Go ahead.
They have to trade cactus for corn from the desert where the grass meet the desert at. Trading posts. And then they go back and use the stuff they got and mix the corn and make their dishes.
That makes sense.
You got stuff that grow in the desert, but it won't grow in regular soil. It's not conducive for its habitat. Right. But that doggone cactus is durable. That sucker grow in the wintertime.
And you can drink a lot. You can get water out of cactus. Hey, so you thinking that it's a lot of foods that they saying that's bad for us now that we were eating thousands of years, and then all of a sudden now they saying that okay, like so, like I just to a lot of herbalists, they talk about corn is acidic, corn is bad, it's don't break down into your intestines. But then why did we design it? And why were we eating it thousands of years and never had any problems? Then all of a sudden now we got problems out of eating corn. We was eating corn thousands of years.
You know, remember, they don't want us to eat bison, they want us to eat beef.
Yeah.
Right? Beef not good for us either.
Go ahead.
But it tastes good.
Yeah.
The taste remind us of bison.
Yeah.
And all only thing else, our uncles down south gonna figure out how to cook it.
Right.
The pit masters.
Right.
The Pitman clan.
Right.
Right? They know how to cook with the fire in the hole.
Right.
This all cultural.
Yeah.
So they if you eat your cultural diet, it'll tune your frequency into your culture. But that don't mean you can't eat other food too. But your cultural diet is just something that ties you back to your culture. You know, we love beans, right? Cornbread. What they say when they see when they see somebody big cornbread fed a
thick, big heavy set, dude.
Yeah. Okay. Because the food stocks that we use was to facilitate the growth of the children, and the mother from the area knew what to grow in order to feed her children for maximum growth. Yeah. Mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. When she put it together in the kitchen, this is where you get the term soul food. Because she cooking from the heart. The highest frequency of woman is when she in the frequency of mother providing for her offspring and her mate. Right? So while she's stirring the pot, she's putting magic in the pot. Right. That's why some people can't nobody cook like my mama.
Right. Sure.
My mama was the coldest. People come from because my mama loved to do it because she loved to take care of other people. Mm-hmm. So it comes out in the food. Right. Seasoned just right. Flavor just right. And you ain't cook enough of it no matter how much you cook. Right.
That's good. I like the greens and cornbread. We came up on beans and rice and cornbread down south. Beans, rice, greens, beans, potatoes. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
You name it.
But you got to remember, see, we conditioned to see from the lens of the age we live in. Uh-huh. But you got to remember, bagged potato chips is not 100 years old. Right. Matter of fact, the only thing that's bagged like that that's older than that is popcorn, maize.
Go ahead.
Other than that was our potato chips, our Doritos, our Funyuns. Right? We wouldn't even have potatoes like that back then. Right? The Irish had to come over here and bring potatoes with them because they spoiled their land with salt water.
I looked it up. They said that potatoes was indigenous to South America.
They have something like a potato from South America.
The original one, it was the original potato that they showed there was from. It's like a purple. It's a purple one. It's not the. Yeah, it's a darker, a melaninated, kind of like
well, we've been had dealings with the Irish for a long time, and so it wouldn't surprise me if it didn't come from South America.
Yeah, it says the potato. It's like by six, maybe 1,000 different kinds of potatoes. Well, I think it said they originated from South America and the corn. It's a lot of stuff I'm starting to
You
find
got to
out.
remember, lions originate over here.
Yep, I found that out too.
Elephants originate from over here.
Yep, camels.
Camels originate from over here.
The jackal black dog that they said that do for Tahuti, used for Anubis, originate from over here.
But that's really not. That's the Zolo over here. That's Anubis. Yeah. But because there's no Zolo over there, they use the jackal.
Yeah. 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 So that stands the reason that Anubis was down there. And they found Anubis is the mommy that the god of burial and all that, right? Because that dog buries his bones, whatever, they get that, right? But the oldest mommy is found over here. Like the oldest mommy, so that they were burying that same style of wrapping the bodies and
funerary rites.
Yeah, that they was doing that over here already before. So what
that's because I told you Egypt over there was just a satellite of over here.
Go ahead.
And the Egypt over there is Hollywood. The real thing was over here.
Go ahead.
That's just an outpost. All of the temples, the great temples of the world at the pyramid base, whether it's the ones in China, Japan, South America, the islands, under the ocean around the equator, those were all temple priests schools where you taught the boys how to become men, you taught the girls how to become women, right? And teach up family structure. The temple priests begin to be able to teach the people in the community from the practice that they put in the temples. And this is why you have your Garden of Delight story. You learning the temperament of people so that you will know how to be able to manage and control people without having to control a person. Right? So when they understand the psychology, now you can let them roam free and you can control them from a distance like you got a remote control on them.
Right.
I know your temperament. I know what's going to agitate you. So I'm going to put that in front of you and make you triggered as much as possible until you can't control yourself no more.
Right.
Right. Then you break character.
Driving them, putting the steering wheel in his back and driving them.
Yeah.
Taking control of them.
Yeah.
Hey, we got about 5 minutes, y'all. We're gonna take about 2 more questions before we get out of here, y'all. So people can they say we too loud. Let's see. Joseph in the Bible took corn to Egypt. Yeah, he took corn to Egypt, but where did he get that corn from? Because we starting to find out that this mate was the main Egypt, Tamaray of the West. Really, it wasn't called Egypt; it was called Tamaray, and Tamaray stands for Black Madonna, Mary, Inanna. It all goes back to Madonna. I mean, to Inanna.
Yeah, right? the corn did originate over here, and it was taken over there. Remember, Egypt over there now older than the Egypt in the Grand Canyon.
Go ahead.
The Grand Canyon is so old, it has more erosion than any of the great pyramids over there in where you call Egypt.
Crack their head, Rod.
The Nile Valley is an outpost. The Emerald Tablets told you that Tahuti rose up in this ship and flew east and settled in the land of the hairy barbarian, and he used his weapon to make them bow and cower before him.
Right.
Right? That wasn't no made-up story. That wasn't no children's bedtime story with all the metaphysics and quantum physics formulas throughout the book.
Right.
He's telling you something. Somebody sent him. He tell you in there who sent him, his father.
Right. Inky.
Yeah.
Right. And he came over. He
right?
was over here in the city of the gods. The city of the gods was the city of the gods and Atlantis. That were the first places that he was building. Besides when he built those pyramids to balance out the earth. But I'm saying he was over here in the city of the gods doing most of the work and the teachers and the
Right, but you got to remember too, all of the pyramids had a gate, a stargate,
right.
where you could walk in. The one in Arizona comes out was kept calibrated to automatically take you to Giza.
Go ahead.
That's why when people think that Africa and Arizona is back to back, because you walk into this portal, you come out in the pyramid complex over there talking about how the did I get here?
Right. I
It's
heard
a
a story
it's
like
a
this.
portal. It's a Stargate portal. It's guarded by men in black. They will bust a cap in your ass and make you disappear.
Yeah.
They gonna first tell you to leave, but if you still try to wiggle your way in there, you're gonna come up missing.
Well, I can see that they found those stargates. I know that for sure, and I know that those portholes that it's a whole bunch of because Tahuti wrote about the portholes, and Inanna wrote about the portholes in the book you told me to go get called "Return of Inanna." She talked about going through the portholes to get to the center of the earth, right? Like she said, it's portholes in those pyramids, and it gets the pyramids in the center of the earth, and you can walk through that porthole and come out in the center of the earth, and where these reptilians live it. Yeah, so I was like,
And
dang,
that's
man.
why we didn't need bridges from America to England.
Go ahead.
We didn't need it. All we had to do is turn the dial in the temple and walk in through the waters and come out on the other side and be over there in Stonehenge somewhere.
That makes sense. Somebody told me underground, we had already built tunnel systems all to connect around the world underground.
Yeah, well, not the world. We connected. This land was connected by a tunnel system, and other places in the world had underground tunnel systems. Over here, when they talk about the Underground Railroad, remember how they used to mail the kids?
Yeah.
That was our way of moving stuff across the land at far distances.
Wow. Wow.
And they use that to tell a fanciful tale because subconsciously we'll remember it. And we might even have flashbacks and dreams of past lives of experience and being shipped from one part of the land to another through a tube. It's moving so fast you can't you just shivering.
Yeah.
Right. So you leaving in Boston, but you ending up in Chicago in only a couple of hours.
Right.
Because that thing moving so fast through them tunnels.
That makes sense. I'm gonna do more research on that. Hey, y'all, we about to get ready to get up out of here. Hey, y'all, we had about 5,000 people on tonight. We got about 2,000 on now, about maybe more. If y'all want to show Rod some love, he'll do it for the money. But we got this is Rod Hayes Cash App right here. You want to everybody send him $1, man. Let me get something to drink real quick. Everybody send him $1, man. Show him some love. And we're gonna have Rod back on when we get more research. Right now, I'm just building out these playlists, and we'll get Rod back on when we have more questions. If y'all want to bring him back on for a Q&A so we can stay updated.
I'm about to be on hiatus for a minute, Elder. I gotta go do some TLC to myself.
Okay. Hey, go ahead, Rod. I got about 200 tapes that I gotta do, man. I gotta get so much. I got so many receipts off of. I know we got 300 tapes, so I can just go through it. Go take notes from every single tape and just. I'm gonna be a while.
Oh, remind me to send you Phoenix hookup. So
yeah. I need to get. That's what I was gonna tell you. I'm glad you said something. I need to get in touch with Phoenix to get her on for the break. Come back with the divination show on the birth chart, so she can go into more on it. Because we're going into that, learning that information back, so we can start logging these children's birth and figure out who's who. So we can, because some people come back like if we know when Emmett Till come back this time, we'll protect him more if we had to than we would. Say if we knew Tamir Rice was Emmett Till, we would have protected him. But they said they don't want us logging the birth They don't want us to start watching. We don't do this no
We
more.
used to, that's what the big mamas used to always evaluate the child.
Mm-hmm.
She check them for birth defects, for, you know, just an overall checkup. Check his head, his ears, his eye movements, just like the regular doctor do. But she's looking for something that tells her what ancestor this is, whether it's a birthmark, or whatever, a mole, a freckle, right? Something might tell her who this is, and she'll watch him interacting with the mama, and she'll figure out within about 9 months who that is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's normally how long it takes for a big mama that's tuned in. She's normally a doula, and she'll be able to tell you, "Oh, this is Uncle so and so right here. This is Uncle Willie. Look at he do his face. They're like Uncle Willie, don't he?
Yeah.
Right? She know who she talking about, but we was told that we don't know what we talking about by following our culture. So they told you that they old wives' tales. Yeah, but go read them. The old wives' tales is all wisdom. That's what the old wives' tales was. Your Sufi stories. Always to increase your wisdom. So if you do find yourself in the power seat, you'll be a wise ruler. Because there ain't no sense of taking you in from being an oppressed despot and make you into a powerful, wealthy despot. Leave your ass where you at. Develop your character first. Because character matters. Right? Build yourself up to make yourself qualified to fill the position you want to fill in your life. If you want to be free, try to free as many people as you can. You might mess around and free the whole world by accident.
There you go.
And the more people free, the closer we is to heaven on earth. And that's the destination. And that's why we want to restore the matriarchy.
Right.
So we can restore heaven on earth. Put the power where it belongs, the machine run the way it's supposed to run.
That's right. We're all machine, and the matriarch's coming back to power now. I can feel it, you know?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I wish I had Queen Diallo talk about. I'm gonna send it to you, Elder, so you can hear what she's saying about the admiralty jurisdiction being over. She said that's why they doing all of these courts over Zoom, because they're not supposed to be holding court in the building.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
I wasn't expecting that, but then as soon as she said it, it clicked because they've been ordered to shut down.
Yeah, send me that.
Yeah, they've been ordered to shut down, but that's also ties back to that one video clip that was talking about them sending people to jail for a fine. Most of the stuff they send us to jail for is a fine, but they rather hold us for the free labor instead of allowing us to pay the fine.
Yep, that's right. That's what she said in that tape, the little clip we just played.
Mm-hmm. See, when it was under the Commonwealth, if you committed a crime against the community, you was allowed to buy your way out or serve your sentence.
Community service.
Well, it might not be community service. You might be working on somebody's plantation, because back then they had county farms. They didn't have prisons.
Oh, okay.
Right? The county farm was repossessed land from the people who was on the tribes. Homestead Act. Right? So they're setting up homesteads, but they need some labor to work the land, and they can't afford to pay them, so they get them from the prison system. And then they pay the prison system as one entity instead of paying the individual slave.
Right. I seen it.
That's why you end up with a prison industrial complex. Now you got a pipeline from the hood to the prisons, running efficiently through the court system, and the courts is just banks. And that's what the bar is. The bar is the bank. It's where the water where you come out the water, you come onto the bar. The bar is the bank. Right? The judge is supposed to be an unbiased fiduciary But you don't know that you ain't now one of the plaintiff or the defendant. You just standing there as a piece of information that verifies that they talking about this straw man on your paperwork. You the equivalent of a thumb drive. The straw man is drawn from your genetic code, your biological blueprint, your makeup. And it is this straw man that they created in your name that they can control. But when you break out of the straw man mentality and be step into your sovereign thinking, that's when you take your power back. Then you realize that they've been lying to us the whole time, giving us false delusions of grandeur, of we shall overcome, in a system that was designed to make us always be fighting to overcome, but never actually overcome nothing.
Damn, that's cold.
That's what Jesse said, keep hope alive. Hope is the past tense of help.
Right.
Right? So in order to keep hope alive, you got to keep begging for help.
Damn. That's cold. That's a
Kill
cold
hope,
analogy, man.
kill hope anywhere it stand at. You don't look for no help.
That's a cold piece of work right there, boy. Jesse the whole time working for them people, man.
When you ain't looking for no help, the truth will come. Because the truth don't need no support, but it to come to support you. That's why I say, Elijah say, know thyself. He say, a man know thyself, lest ye be free.
Right.
Right. So, and Sun Tzu say, know yourself and know your enemy. Victory is assured. Right. So we all know that there's something about the knowledge of self that takes you to another level. So you study the self. What are you? Where you come from? How you get here? Is the story they telling you the true story? Do it match what you feel in your soul? Stop